There it is. It is the Mosley Show. 1 o'clock, 1 to 3, 1 to whenever we feel like it, quite honestly. We can go long on some days. There may be a day we go short, but today it's not that day. There's too much going on. There's too much to react to. There's strange stories out there. There's Scotty Swingler rants to be had. There's Campus Confidential coming up at 2:30 today, where we'll take a look around the rest of the country. And Scotty, for all the world, in your mind during that Baylor game, I just I kind of thought, oh man, I know what kind of show it's going to be. I know what kind of post games these are going to be. I know what my man Cam is saying on the Locked On thing. I know what we're going to be talking about this week. I know what it's going to feel like with the Bears going into the bye at 3-3, and this is going to get ugly, and this is not going to be fun, and Dave Aranda's going to have to answer a lot of the same questions, and that is the thin margin. That's that fine line between winning and losing. Coaches getting fired, not getting fired. It's games like the other day, and hey, we can certainly continue to be frustrated about some of the things and some of the same old things and some of the defensive shortcomings, and you can't defend a quarterback. And yes, everybody knew he was going to try to run, and then you can't defend it when he goes racing right up the middle. But thank you to the heavens. Thank you to Burleson. Thank you to Judge Baylor. Any judge that we've had, who was the judge? Judge Daniel. I think he was a judge. His brother was the governor of Texas. Any judges in Baylor's past, even Judge Starr, he comes under fire, but Judge Starr had his moments with Baylor. Thank you. Everybody smiled down upon the Bears, and they won a game they really shouldn't have. And I don't often, Scotty, try to put myself in the shoes of, it's like the people in purple that showed up the other day, the Kansas State fans. They seemed nice. I didn't really have much interaction, but as we were doing the Green and Gold Game Day show, and by the way, that's a good show. We do it before every Baylor home and away game. And I loved it, Scotty, because some of those fan votes we were putting out there on KWTX and YouTube, I swear, man, unless you were fudging the numbers, those things, we were getting like 300 to 500 votes coming in on that stuff. And by the way, if you were fudging the numbers, I'm okay with that. All right, I'm okay. I'd be okay with that. But I love the fact that so many people are hearing about us and just realize, hey, it's a fun show, because we go to the trouble of having all these cameras and TV, and Faith and I get all dressed up. Scotty, he gets dressed up in his Hondo caps, but Scotty did. In fact, some of the people, Scotty, over at some of the Sikkim 365, and even people that have known you for years at some tailgates, a couple of tailgates down, were just talking about like, hey, do you do that show with Scotty? Are you with Scotty? And people were excited about this thing. So that was fun the other day. But Scotty, as I walked out of the deal, I did have a little bit of empathy. And for some of the folks that had just said bye to the K-State buses as they pulled out, after we had stayed around and I'd talked to Aranda and asked him some questions and heard from Dave. And Scotty and I have been monitoring Dave. If we have more time tomorrow, we might even play a little bit of what Dave Aranda had to say at his noon lunchtime news conference. But, right now we have too much to say. But Scotty, I got to say, I even said some things to the Kansas State fans. And no, I was not in heckling Mosley mode. I was walking out to my car, and I saw them. They had their sons and grandsons, jersey numbers on. And I just kept saying, hey, y'all got some great players. Y'all really do have a nice team. And they seem to appreciate it. It was kind of a nice. Now, one text I sent to the Matt Wells family, that's the offensive coordinator, I did not hear back immediately. I was kind of trying to express, you would think I would learn after 30 years of covering these teams, maybe in the hour after a tough loss is not the time to express some condolences. But so anyway, but Scotty, can you imagine like think about that. Baylor's down 31-17. They get down there, inside the red zone and throw I'm trying to remember what they tried to do. Was that one of those where they try to a fade pass it's just like they went for it, they didn't get it, and I think at that point the folks that were there, I don't know what the announced crowd was. Scotty, did you see any numbers for what they said the announced crowd? It was not a great crowd.
Yeah, I did not see anything like that. Yeah.
I would say that they announced, because with season tickets and everything, I would imagine they announced that there were like 35 to 40 there. I bet they announced that. The truth of the matter is, at the peak of that crowd, and I'm talking 20 minutes into the game when everybody's still way into the game and all that, the peak of that crowd was probably 25 to 28. All right. It was not a great crowd. Now on the alumni side, the press box side, there were a decent amount of people who showed up. I thought I know everybody's killing the I think the Baylor line's the last place we should be looking on this thing, because I looked over there and they filled up several sections. Should the Baylor line stay to the bitter end? Yes, they should. But I'm not going to come on here today beating them up, because that was a motley little crew. And at the end of the game, they were going crazy over there. And I love seeing them interact with the players. But Scotty, the fans, as I predicted, if they all show up for Auburn, and if they all show up for Arizona State, and you lose those games, they're probably not going to show up for 11 a.m. game against K-State. So, okay, Scotty was ready for the moment. The fan cam. Scotty, what time of the game? Stop it. What time of the game was that? Was that late? Was that fairly late?
I believe that was in the fourth quarter. Yes, sir. I believe so.
Scotty,
that is not my video. I pulled that off social media, sir. That is publicly available for anybody that would like to see it.
I know. And I had a good visit with some of the Baylor luminaries afterwards. If they had lost that game, think about this, Scotty. Like, they're now 4-2. Okay, so let's throw out Samford because nobody cares about that. Like, two of the wins are just miracle wins. They're down. They got no business winning that SMU game. They're on the road. There's 7 or 8 minutes left, and they're down 2 touchdowns. They come back and win the game. They're down 2 touchdowns, and really just not getting it done on either side of the ball, to a K-State team that's kind of, I don't know. They're not as bad as the record says, but they're not great. But boy, at times in that game, they looked great. They were throwing the ball, they were running the ball, they were doing whatever in the world they wanted. And they were it looked like for all the world, they had the Bears. And then Trig happened. And then the Jacob Redding happens. These are unbelievable swing changes and moments. Now, there's that moment, and he had 8 catches for 155 yards. And, Scotty, thank you for not being someone, most people in talk radio or do our business, once they hold on to some kind of argument, and you and I were in an argument about something that had to do with tight end. We won't get too far down that path again. But I appreciate it. I saw that you put out on social media, Mosley was right. I have to deflect. I have to defer to him.
Wait. I want to be fair, because I don't want any disappointment. I texted you this.
Oh, dang
I
it.
did. I did not.
You should. I think this should be a public. There's a lot of things in your life, Scotty, like anything personal or anything. I would always recommend too many people in the ministry, by the way, they always will try to convince you, hey, talk about your life. Talk about, I'm not one
Yeah.
of those people. I'm like,
Yeah.
let's talk about our testimony, whatever. But when it comes to something that you're kind of admitting that Mosley was right, you were wrong, that can be put on social media. So that was
All
just a
right.
text you sent me. Dang it. I was
Well,
hoping you
well,
shared that with the world. But
well,
yeah.
I think in my own self-defense, and what Mosley is referencing is last week he said Trigg is the best tight end Baylor's ever had, and I brought up the name Ben Sims, who still holds the record for the best receiving season in Baylor history for a tight end. Trigg will break it. Trigg will break it. I think I have felt for a long time like Trigg has this incredible potential, and we haven't seen it. And Saturday, I felt like we saw it. And it wasn't just that one catch. It was 155 yards, several plays, no egregious drops. I was really upset about that drop he had against Auburn. He looked like the NFL kind of ready guy that we wanted this past week. So
He looks
props
like
to
a
him.
first round
Props
pick.
to him. He did.
No,
He really did.
My argument was that he's the best tight end in Baylor history. And while they've had some really good ones and guys I like, oh my gosh, there it is. I mean, Ben Sims can't do that. Now, Ben Sims is faster than you think. And I am a huge Ben Sims guy. And he did put up really good numbers. And I was so happy that Baylor finally started like throwing to the tight end. He was a great weapon. So this is not a knock on Ben Sims. This is just praise toward a dude we've never had. We've never had a monster with this combination of speed, size. The hands are obviously there. Now, I'll tell you, when I became on the huge Trigg bandwagon, there was a game last year where Baylor was kind of flopping around, not doing much, and Sawyer wasn't having a great game. And part of it was because Houston actually had these two monster defensive tackles that were kind of owning the line of scrimmage. And I thought Trigg kind of went out, and the defense played well that night too, but I thought Trigg kind of won that game. I thought it was like, we got a dude, y'all can't cover, and we're going to find him. And Sawyer was smart to do that. And now it's like, I heard what Dave said the other day. It's like, you got to pick your poison, and how you would continue to line up with either a safety or a linebacker or whoever on Trigg is beyond me. You can't do it. Like at some point, and I know Baylor lines him up in different spots, and I love talking and hearing Dave talk about that the other day, but you can't defend him. And you really need to try to double him. But if you cover him at the line of scrimmage, if you cover him with a linebacker and then you put a safety over that linebacker or even a cornerback, however you want to do that, you do open up and you get one-on-one coverage elsewhere. Early in that game, I thought Kansas State's defensive backs, and I brought them up on the Green and Gold Game Day pregame, Scotty. By the way, Scotty, I guess in our opening segment we're going to stick with this, right? Baylor and A&M. I feel like we're already in. We should. I always, after these games, especially when the Cowboys play well and Baylor has a big win, I'm always like, I want to start with Cowboys or do I want to start with Baylor? And today, there's still enough excitement around that Baylor win. Now, Scotty, let me address the elephant in the room on something. And we'll talk about Sawyer and his huge day. And Bryson was banged up, but he gutted that thing out. I thought the O-line hung in there and they battled. And again, there are moments. Prentice is just a walking touchdown. Scotty, at some point, maybe throw him more than, one or two passes a game. If he's going to get like a touchdown every game and be one of the leading, guys for touchdowns in the Big 12, he may be tied for it now. He's very high up there. He's got what now, Scotty, 6 or 7 on the year. The guy only has like 18 catches, and I think 6 of them are for touchdowns. Or he maybe have, I don't know how much he has, but he's got a ton. So I would think about maybe mixing him in a little more. But he had a great play. There were just so many tremendous moments. And I had a good line, Scotty, and I got to make sure I don't try to turn like the Baylor postgame session into Mosley Comedy Hour. But what I wanted to say I thought, and you would have liked this. I thought what I would say to Sawyer is, Sawyer, you know, most of the year we've asked you about not running. And of course, there was a big moment in that game where he's got a chance to go in and he throws a pass instead. And he looks like he could have either run for the first down or run in for a touchdown. And what I was going to say, we've brought this up a lot, Sawyer, but were you not running all those times to save up for that 2-point conversion? And I thought that would have been a good line. I think Sawyer would have enjoyed it. I know Bryce, because there was something I asked Dave that got Bryce's attention, and Bryce had a big laugh. So again, I'm not trying to turn this into Mosley Comedy Hour. Baylor post game is a very serious time, but I think that would have been a good line to use with Sawyer, Scotty. I think he would have gotten a kick out of it. Sawyer is, after wins or losses, like you talk about a guy who was built for the podium. He's what you want. He's perfect. And now I don't know why, and I don't know, like how you don't bring Michael Trigg out after that game is beyond me. Like that's who we all wanted to hear from. 8 catches, 155 yards. He's unbelievable. He's headed to the NFL. Hey, fellas, he's going to have to do NFL interviews. They're going to be in the locker room. They're going to be talking to him after games. Let's get him out. Let's visit with him. But for whatever reason, and by the way, that's got to be Dave Aranda's decision. I bet Brent Ingram goes up, or Brent Ingram, who does a great job, but I bet Brent has some thoughts on who he thinks would be best at the podium, and he runs it by Dave Aranda. And for whatever reason, Trigg is not coming to the podium. Now, on defense, it was fun having Redding, okay, because Redding had that enormous play, and then I think maybe Keaton was out there. Those were fun.
The pressure comes, and so does the turnover. Jacob Redding streaking down the sideline. All he wanted to do was play for Baylor. He's realizing the dream today.
I like good call. Good call from the Pete Souza show. And see, when Pete's talking, I don't talk over him. I love that. And that's what I asked him, Scotty, afterwards. I meant to send you that clip. I asked Dave after the game. I was just like, okay, here it is again with the sound down. First of all, what a horrible decision by Avery Johnson. 31-25, they're moving in there to salt away that game. 4:20 left. They can kick a field goal. They could go down there and score a touchdown. Baylor could not get off the field on 3rd and 11. They couldn't get off the field on 3rd and 9. Look at that Baylor line. Look at that huge group up there reacting and going crazy, Scotty. It's just unbelievable they threw that ball. Threw a ball late. He threw it with no velocity across the middle, and Redding got it. And so, Scotty, I asked Dave after the game, I'm like, what'd you make of that play by Redding to Dave Aranda? And I said, were you aware that he had those kinds of moves? And Dave kind of liked it, and he laughed, he smiled, and he's like, yeah. And he went on to give a really good answer about Redding, just that when he first got to Baylor, he's a walk-on, he's on scout team, and he's just making play after play on scout team. And he's just like, we're like, what's going on? I mean, who is this? And he just forced his way into the lineup. And so, again, Scotty, we can look and see how many years he has left for the Bears. But Dave said his best football's still ahead of him. The way Dave said it almost made me think Dave was talking about like at the NFL. But I think hopefully Redding maybe has at least another year left with the Bears. I know I was trying to convince you recently that Sawyer that there's a possibility. How can Diego Pavia and these guys have all these years left and we can't get another year with Sawyer? If Baylor can't get another year out of Sawyer, now Sawyer probably is going to turn pro. And Sawyer, because of his years at Mississippi State and then being at Baylor for the great year last year, the bad year before that, and now his third year at Baylor, a redshirt season at Mississippi State. I guess it adds up, and we can't get him back. You know what I heard somebody talking about today? It was funny to me, Scotty, is the fact that, everybody thought, well, Arch, like NFL teams are going to want Arch Manning. Arch Manning, no NFL team could want him right now. So he's going to go back to the University of Texas, and that's going to make for a very awkward situation. Because, the truth is, does Texas want him to come back? Yeah, there's no way they're going to move on and replace him. I think he'll get another shot to start for them next year. But what an awkward situation. And you know what this becomes? This is the Quinn Ewers appreciation year. Everybody's ready for him to move on. How do you like those 2 playoff trips, Longhorns? How do you like those playoff trips? The greatest thing for a Longhorn, Scotty, is when they're riding high and the Aggies are losing. And the flip side is so true. Arch and the Longhorns lose, Aggies win, and the Aggies are freaking, and I know this is, and Scotty will accuse me of Mosley's, he's front running with these Aggies. Yes, I have a daughter. Yes, I love my daughter, and I support her, and I pay for her to go to Texas A&M, and her mom, contributes as well. But, we're married. But I'm not an Aggie fan. But you talk about fun for them to see the Longhorns struggling and the Aggies win, and they are top 5 in this country. Whoa. And they had Operation Blackout and all that kind of stuff. Now, that is the goofiest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's like, Scotty, as weird as people think the Aggies are, all the yell leader stuff, the guys in the milkman costumes or whatever you want to call it, the outfits. What you can't do is get black uniforms for those guys. If that is one dyed-in-the-wool great tradition, or maybe you want to make fun of it and you don't think it's a great tradition. Whatever. The dogs, but you got to stick with the yell leaders in your milkman outfits. And for Operation Blackout, they put on the All Blacks. They put on the all black uniforms. Now, did it look cool? Does A&M have a better game day atmosphere and walk out and everything about their game day atmosphere than Baylor? Of course they do. It's only because it's like they got some of the greatest traditions in the country. All right. Has Baylor had great moments? You bet. But the other day was not a great moment for the crowd. The other day, Scotty, I'm afraid Scotty's going to keep throwing that. It wasn't good. It was not. But you know what? Those of us that were still there, and my parents were there. I don't know if Scotty's parents came. Scotty had other loved ones at the game.
My parents were there.
Good.
My parents were there.
People were coming up to me the other day. I went to college with Scotty's dad. My friend knew Scotty's dad back at this place or whatever. Scotty, it's crazy how people, how many people claim to know you. So anyway, they're all out there, supporting you, which is nice to see. But somebody's like, I went to Baylor with Scotty Swingler's dad. I heard that name and I knew that it had to be that Swingler. Anyway, that's good that they were still there. I wonder if Simcox's dad has been known to show up at the games and bring a book with him. His mom's like a huge Baylor fan. The dad could kind of take it or leave it, and he'll bring a book. I think that sounds like too many Baylor fans right now. They got books. They're bringing books to games. But it's a good win. They're 4-2. Go get a road win at TCU. We now know that's a morning game. Scotty, what do we think about that? The fact that you and I need to sort of be on the ground for that, do we like getting those games out of the way and then having the rest of the evening to watch games and do whatever we want? Or does that cramp our style? Where are we on the 11 a.m. game? And will you probably have to spend the night in the Metroplex?
I don't know. I don't know what my overnight plans will be. I will tell you that this past Saturday was the first Saturday where I could actually, after the Baylor game, relax and enjoy watching some other football. And it was great. It was great. I haven't really got to do that this season. I've been a little high strung with the show and often lacking sleep, so much so I can't watch football after the Baylor game. But Saturday, I got to watch a little bit. I watched all of the Vanderbilt Alabama game. I had Texas, Florida on. It was a great time. So I like 11 a.m. kick because then my job is over. I can watch the rest of the games and feel okay. Whereas like with a 3 o'clock kick or a 7 o'clock kick, I'm probably prepping for the show like that whole time.
All right. Well, that's good. I just kind of wanted to see.
But as for Fort Worth, yeah, let's get up there. Let's get in and out of there. You know what? My philosophy is probably going to be, let's get in and out of there as quickly as we can.
But we're going to have to stay in Fort Worth. Like what I'm decide is if I'm gonna do. Wait, does TCU? Who do they play this week? Because Baylor's on a
Kansas State. They get the Wildcats now.
Play and the Bears can rest and get everybody right.
Yes.
So
Mosley, I think I will probably leave Waco at 4 a.m. Roll in there for that show. And then as soon as that game is over, I will probably leave.
On the road show, are you going to try to do 3 hours or just a 2 hour?
2. We do 2 hours for road games.
All right. Well, we can have some folks at my house in the Metroplex, but the problem is that gets you on the Dallas side. If you're going to stay up there, you probably need to stay on the Fort Worth side. And you have friends in Fort Worth. Don't try to drive up there at 4. That's never a great thing. The early morning swingler after a night of spending time at Dichotomy, which closes at probably like 9 at night. I think it's pretty hard to have a wild night at Dichotomy, a wild night of lattes. Scotty loves a good latte. He really does. And that was free, Dichotomy. The next one is on you. All right. My gosh, we come over there constantly. You guys need to step up. All right. Because that's really what sponsors love is when they just get called out by Mosley. Speaking of that, Ascension Providence, love having them. Love what they're doing. We're going to have some of the doctors on soon. Central National Bank. We had Brian Fonville, the big-time executive. He came on from CNB just the other day, and great to have Central National Bank. You see those commercials, those great Nikki Collin. They're a primary sponsor of Baylor women's basketball, which then gives them the rights to one huge game a year. And I think they sponsored the Arizona State game, and you see CNB ribbon advertising but their main claim to fame is they've been the long-time Mosley Show sponsors. And now, of course, Schmaltz in that trivia contest we do every Thursday, sometimes on Fridays, but that Thursday trivia contest, great to have Schmaltz's with us. I had a sandwich the other day, and it was fine. It was last night. And they put it on the menu for me at this place in Dallas called Palmer's Fried Chicken. And because they know I like pimento cheese so much. And so they added it to the menu as an actual thing. And I loved it. I mean, it's great pimento cheese, but no sandwich compares to what they do at Schmaltz's. When I order the Schmaltz and I get all those Italian meats and I get the salami and I get the ham and I get the turkey and then I get all the fixings, and then I get that focaccia, or I get the jalapeno bread sometimes. And I get it twice baked, or I get it twice. I have them overdo it in the oven. And then and so Scotty, who is every day in studio, can just wander right across the street. The other people I saw the other night at a post game, Scotty, in addition to people that know you, is Brett Bean, the big time former car dealer out of Mahia, who's a huge Baylor sponsor, and his wife has a wealth management group, Scotty, right across the street at Roosevelt Building. And so I could see the Bean family. They seem to have a major interest in the Mosley show. So come one, come all. It's great to have you a part of this. Now, Scotty has some big time stuff planned for Campus Confidential. And Scotty, what we haven't even had a chance to do really, and we'll do this in the 2 o'clock hour perhaps, we really haven't had much of a chance to like talk about the actual game, like where it went poorly, how Baylor got back in that thing, who made the huge plays, the throws from Sawyer, this was the Trig game. This was the monster Trig game, but this was one of those games that you're just like, I cannot believe they won that game. Hey, Scotty, who's their fourth win? SMU, K-State,
Sanford.
Sanford is the third one. Fourth win is
we won last week at Oklahoma State.
Okay. For some reason that was a weird one. That was slipping my mind. Okay. Oak State. Yeah, you did go get the road win at Oak State. You had to do that. They were in a bad way. Oak State continues to fight. Okay. So K-State and Oak State. Now, what I love, though, is now the Bears can kind of go under the radar because everything I see, Scotty, and I know you and Pete are seeing the same thing, Bears are not even listed as contenders. They're not like in the bottom of the barrel Big 12 teams, but of all those contending teams, and I think Arizona State's there, they may leave TCU up there, obviously Tech, BYU, that's your favorite team in the world other than Baylor, you and Pete. But man, that's interesting. Oh, and I sent that thing to you, Scotty, and I haven't said my piece because I want the guy to come on with us, so I don't want to rip him too badly. But I mean, really, we're already saying the Big 12 runs through Lubbock. How many conference games have they played this year? I know they look good. They beat Houston. They beat the Houston Cougars at their place. Ooh, that's a tough place. That's a tough place to play. I mean, how many conference games has Texas Tech even won this year? They won a big game against Utah. They went and won a game against U of H. And we're going to write stories that say the Big 12 go. And Mike Craven's a buddy of mine who wrote that for Dave Campbell's Texas Football. But really? We're going to say the Big 12 runs through Texas Tech? How about you win a conference title? How about you do something over the past 20 years other than have Mike Leach have the one great season? By the way, Oklahoma spanked you that year, but with Crabtree. And yes, you won those games. You won 10 games, and we celebrated you forever for beating Texas that night out in Lubbock. But my goodness, the Big 12 runs through Lubbock? Where is this stuff coming from? Just because they spent a whole bunch of money? Hey, I like Cody Campbell as much as the next day. I got a bunch of Texas Tech buddies. I was with them the other night, and I know they're feeling themselves. Oh, my gosh, we're in our bag. But we're barely into this season. This season has, in terms of who's going to win it, who's going to lose it, who's going to the playoff, this thing has barely started. My gosh, we're 3 weeks into the conference season, and we're saying this thing goes through Lubbock?
You like my tweet, Matt?
Show it to me. What did you say?
Oh, I threw it up. I threw it up. Maybe you can't see what I'm throwing up.
No, I can't.
With our
I'm sorry.
setup. So that's okay. My tweet says, I don't know. I think they should maybe actually win the conference just once before we make declarations like this.
I mean, it's kind of like when they said...
I'm with you. You texted me that, and I was like, that is an insane statement.
Well, and I need to read the whole thing, and maybe we'll have Craven on. I mean, Mike's a good guy. And maybe it was just the headline was kind of overdone. But the Big 12 runs through Lubbock? I mean, it's just dumb. Like, it's kind of like, is Texas the new Alabama? Oh, yeah, because Texas has they've run it, the college football the last 15 years. Oh, no, they haven't? Oh, yeah, they went through 15 years in the wilderness. until they went to the playoff 2 years ago, and now they're already stumbling out of the gates this season after being number one in the country, and they're not even ranked? Why are we so quick to do all this goofiness? I mean, Baylor won the conference in 2021. Baylor played for the conference title in the conference title game in 2019. Okay? And I know the Bears have at times fallen on hard times recently. 2 years ago, they were horrible. Last year, they got it rolling again a little bit. But name me the last conference title that Texas Tech has won. Do you have to go back to the one that they tied for in like 1995? Was that the 95 or the 96 season, Scotty, where there was like a 5-way tie for the SWC title? I'm trying to remember the first year of the Big 12. First year of the Big 12 might have been 96, so that might have been 95. When was the last time Texas Tech won anything? It's crazy. Oh, but everything runs through Tech now. Okay, Cody Campbell, my gosh, he's running commercials, and he basically runs all of college football. So we're gonna act like everything runs through Texas Tech. Woo, my Scotty.
Texas Tech has not won an outright conference title in football since 1955.
Outright conference title. They tied for one. What year was that? 95?
When I don't know, when I searched, Google AI told me about 94. 94 was a co-championship.
94. Okay, 94 season.
So you were close. The
hey, Bears tied them that season, by the way, for the conference title.
I have not done this yet in our short time together as co-host of this show, but you've given me permission to give you breaking news as it comes up.
Please.
1 minute ago, Auburn announced they are moving their home football game against Baylor next year in 2026 to Atlanta for the Aflac kickoff game. It is expected to generate $5 million in NIL opportunity for Auburn. But Baylor will not play at Jordan-Hare Stadium next season. It will be at the Benz in Atlanta. I actually think that is tremendous news for Baylor. Like, if I can be honest with you.
Yeah, and they'll still have more fans because they can get to
right, but it's gonna feel more like going to a bowl game than
totally
playing at an
totally
SEC stadium.
It's better for Baylor, but and I get it. Maybe the NIL, maybe you got to do it in this day and age. But what a sorry thing for those students in Auburn. I mean, there's a ton of people from Texas now going to Auburn. For whatever reason, Auburn's become a huge place for kids from Texas to go. My daughter has a ton of kids from her high school that went. But what a sorry deal. You get ready to open the season at your home place, Toomer's Corner, all the fun reasons you would go to an SEC school. I mean, listen, if you're going to say, I would still try to convince everybody to go to Baylor because I love Baylor and I love what it represents. And I love everything that Scotty and I and our parents and everything it meant to us. But if you were going to try to convince a kid not to go to Baylor, you just point at that stadium that Scotty showed the other day. And then you point to Kyle Field or Jordan-Hare or Legion Field or Bryant Denny Stadium in Alabama. Yeah, that's all you do. You go, well, guys, you can go up to, down the road to Texas. You can go to A&M, and you can be in there with 108,000 fans when Mississippi State comes to town, or you can go be a part of that. Now, they will let you run out on the field. That's a good point, Scotty. I'm praising myself for a good point now, but you kind of inspired it with showing me that. But think how bad that is for as your admissions people. Baylor gets great students and all of that, but that's a bad look. It's a bad look. And again, I'm not blaming totally the students. There's a ton of Baylor has a great alumni base in Houston and Austin and the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and has a great group that supports them in Waco. But that was ugly the other day. It don't get. If we want to talk about the sun beating down, oh my Lord, Scotty, seriously, October. I mean, I was out there on that dock the other day, and the sun was hitting me pretty hard at one point. And I did, Scotty, have this one moment. You didn't even know this the other day. I was out at Brazos Landing, and I kind of had this one moment where I'm like, God, am I going to faint? And you know what I did? I took a big drink of iced tea, half and half iced tea at Brazos Landing, and I dug in, and I was fine. But anybody trying to leave that game too sunny, can you imagine some A&M student or an A&M fan, or even the wine sipping UT people? Oh, well, got a little sunny the other day. Imagine that crowd's going to show up at the OU Texas game at Fair Park. You think anybody? Let's get a little sunny. Ooh, that sun's beating down on me. And I'll tell you what, they're going to still be cheering, and most of them will have about 8 to 10 beers in their system. And the Baylor people, I guarantee you, nobody in that stadium has more than 3 or 4 in them. All right, there'll be people at Fair Park, because that's a 2:30 kickoff, that have 8 to 12 beer. And I'm not suggesting you should do that, because I think that's a bad move. But I would say 50% of that stadium will have 8 to 12 beers in their system by kickoff. And none of them are going to go slinking out of there. Oh, my gosh, I'm dehydrated. Oh, I'm passing out. I got to leave. Bad showing. Although, Scotty, when I'm sitting up there in that press box eating on my fajitas or whatever they're serving, and I'm in the air conditioning, I'm not one to really scold the Baylor family. God, that hair's a little rough there, Scotty. I'm sorry. There's a lot of it, but geez, that's a rough look. We got to get that 4K back, Scotty. Can you holler down the hall at the studios and ask them how my laptop's doing? All right, it is time for Campus Confidential. We'll take you around the country, and we'll hear a rant from Scotty Swingler. That is next.